Since Halloween is around the corner, I thought why not mix love with the spooky? Why not have some supernatural romance this time? And hence, the movie of this week is Practical Magic. Released in 1998, Practical Magic has a great cast of Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman, Aidan Quinn, and Stockard Channing. It's based on a book of the same name by Alice Hoffman. It has witches, spell, love, sisterhood, and just a touch of magic. Let's see if it is any good. The movie starts with a voice telling the story of a young witch named Maria Owens. She was banished by her hometown for practicing witchcraft. Pregnant with her child, she waited for her lover to rescue her, but he never came. So in agony, she put a spell on herself to never to be in the pain of love. It then becomes a curse for all of her descendants, which means whoever the Owen women's love will die an untimely death. So it does come true for the next generations. Sally and Gillian's father died suddenly, and her witch mother, Regina, dies of her broken heart. That's when both the girls come to live with their aunts, Franny and Jet, who are witches as well. Their aunts help women with their love matters. The girls often face teasing at the hands of other people in the town. Due to the death curse, Sally decides that she never wants to fall in love, whereas Gillian can't wait to fall in love because for her it is intense and fascinating. Sally, having magical powers, casts a spell of true love. In the spell, she asks for a boy with very unrealistic characteristics. It is because she wants to make sure that the boy doesn't exist and she won't fall in love. When they grow up, Sally, played by Sandra Bullock, is quiet and shy, whereas Gillian, played by Nicole Kidman, is a rebel and outgoing girl. Gillian runs away with the guy because she is done with being an outcast in that town. But both the sisters promise each other that they will meet again and grow old and die together. They even share a blood pact. One day, Sally sees a local boy, Michael, and falls in love with him. Later, she writes a letter to her sister, telling her that she has been married to Michael for 3 years and they have 2 daughters and she is so happy. Gillian also replies that she is living the life of the party and she's also dating a mysterious boy named Jimmy Angelo. Sally's happiness doesn't last long. One day she hears the creaking of a dead death watch beetle. It is said to be a warning to the witches about the upcoming death of their lovers. Sally is scared. She tries to defy the curse by catching the beetle, but her husband dies suddenly in an accident. Distraught, she asks her aunts to bring him back with the help of magic, but they refuse to do so as he wouldn't be even human if they did that. There she learns that her aunts had put a spell on Michael and her to make them fall in love. They did this because they couldn't see her all alone and sad. Sally feels betrayed and swears she won't fall in love again. Later, Sally moves into her aunt's house with her daughters, Kelly and Antonia. She forbids her aunts to teach her kids any magic. Like her, the young girls also suffer from teasing by the town's children because they are said to be witches. One day, Sally writes a letter to Gillian telling her how miserable she is after losing her love. Soon her sister calls her and begs her to come to Arizona and get her. Worried, Sally flies there and rushes to Gillian's motel room. She finds her all beaten up and hiding from her boyfriend. Both the sisters are getting out of there when suddenly Jimmy kidnaps Gillian and forces Sally to drive them in his car. He is threatening to kill Gillian if he ever leaves him. He is acting all crazy and possessive. Then Gillian signs Sally to slip some bedridden herb into his tequila so he will pass out. Sally does that in the moving car and he drinks it, but he is still unfazed for a long time. When Jimmy again attacks Gillian in their struggle, he passes out and dies on top of her. Terrified, the sisters take his body home. Gillian is afraid that if cops find out that Jimmy is dead, they will arrest her for poisoning him. She forces Sally to perform a spell to bring him back from the dead. Then Sally and Gillian cast a magic spell with wacky objects and lo and behold, Jimmy wakes up. But he attacks and strangles Gillian as soon as he gets up. To save her, Sally hits him over his head repeatedly and he dies this time for real. They bury him in their garden near some roses. The next day, their aunts and the girls come back from their trip. They are so happy to see Gillian home. At night, all the adult women celebrate their reunion with midnight margaritas. They are having a good time until the aunt starts singing Jimmy's favorite song. Also, Sally realizes that they are drinking from Jimmy's bottle of tequila. All the laughter dies down when it is revealed that the bottle was found on their front porch. The aunts ask them what they are hiding from them, but Sally and Jillian don't say anything. The next day, Sally's daughter Kelly says that she can see a man sitting under the roses that have grown overnight. Terrified, the sisters go to check the garden. There is no one, but Jimmy's shoes have come above the garden from his grave. They are now afraid as Jimmy is haunting them. Sally is cutting down the overgrown roses when a man comes looking for Jillian. He is an investigator from Arizona looking for Jimmy Angelo. His name is Gary Hallett, played by Aidan Quinn. He asks about Jimmy's car parked in front of their home. Both the sisters tell him that Jimmy had hit Jillian and Sally brought her home. After that, they haven't seen him, though Sally has trouble lying to him. Gary investigates around the town about the Owen sister, but nobody has anything good to say about them. The town believes that they are witches and they cast spells. Also, they fly off the roof on Halloween. However, we can see that the inspector is taking an interest in Sally. The next day, Gary comes to their house and asks Sally some question. Jillian and the children are making a potion to make the inspector disappear. The children learn that Sally has kept a diary in which she has written the specific characteristics she wants in a guy. They realize that Gary has most of those features like his odd color eyes and his star of justice. He can even flip pancakes in the air. The children take an instant liking to him. They even throw away Jillian's syrup potion in the sea. Meanwhile, a frog turns up carrying Jimmy's ring in his mouth. Seeing this, Gary gets very angry that they are hiding Jimmy's disappearance from him and he storms off. Inside the house, Sally and Jillian fight about the whole matter. Sally tells her sister that she is going to confess everything to Gary. She goes after him and tells him that she wants to tell him the truth. Inside his room, he asks her questions, but she tells him that a criminal like Jimmy has been punished and he is haunting them now. Their talk turns personal and caving into the attraction, they kiss each other. Up close, Sally sees that his one eye is green and the other is blue. Shocked by this, she runs away from his room. When she goes home, she sees Jillian is again possessed by the ghost of Jimmy. Gary also reaches behind her but is shocked to see the scene. Jimmy then attacks Gary and tries to rip his heart out. However, the star of justice on his badge burns his hand and the ghost disintegrates into thin air. Later, Gary and Sally talk about everything. She confesses about Jimmy's murder. She also tells him that she had cast a spell in her childhood about a man, and it is because that spell Gary had generated feelings for her too. That his attraction is not organic. She is afraid that he may die if they end up together because of the curse. He tells her that curses only come true if you believe in them, and he doesn't. Inside her house, Jillian is again possessed by Jimmy, but this time their aunts come home to help them. They decide that they need to banish Jimmy to his grave and it will need more women, possibly 12. So Sally calls women from her school parent phone tree and outs herself as a witch. She calls them to help her and the women come to her house with brooms. They all form a circle, hold their brooms together and recite some spells. Jillian seems to lose the fight with Jimmy's ghost, but Sally holds her hand through all that. She recalls that she and Jillian are supposed to grow old and die together. They share their blood and joins hand in casting the spell again. This time it works and Jimmy's spirit leaves her body. They dust his ashes outside and throw the cauldron full of potion on it. And finally, it's done. Gary writes a letter to Sally, telling her that the investigation has concluded Jimmy has died in an accident. He also sends Jimmy's ring back. Sally asks Jillian what she would do if she was in her place. Jillian proclaims what she wouldn't do for the right guy. Later, Gary comes back to Sally's house and they both kiss. The movie ends when all the Owens girls, dressed in all black, flies off the roof on Halloween in front of everyone. Despite the good opening, the movie could not perform at the box office. Critics tore down the movie and it did not collect its production budget. However, audiences loved it on OTT platforms and hence it has garnered a cult status now. The strongest point of Practical Magic is its cast. Sandra Bullock has proven her worth in her role as a mother, a good sister, and a woman scared of love but willing to do anything for her loved ones. Nicole Kidman has done justice to her role as a loving sister and an aunt, and at the same time as a thrill-seeker rebel. Aidan Quinn is so handsome and plays his role very well. The elderly aunts are good and fun to watch. The location is a huge plus point for this movie. Their house on a sea cliff with a garden provides a beautiful ambience. Oh boy, where do I start? Despite the great acting talent, the movie suffers at the hands of a bad screenplay. The scenes are dragging and the movie struggles to get its footing. The main problem is that what started as a promising chick flick later turns into a crime mystery and then horror as Jimmy's possession is thrown into it. Then again, by the power of sisterhood, they defeat Jimmy's ghost in the end and the movie again becomes a chick flick romance. The movie suffers in terms of plot holes such as why Jillian never has any magical powers, why and how Maria's curse is lifted if it did, why the title Practical Magic. Also, it would have been a lot better if they had edited half an hour of the movie to make it on point and gripping. Now, will the relationship survive? With this video onwards, I will give my take on whether the relationship in the movie will stand the test of time. In Practical Magic, Gary and Sally end up together. I feel this relationship will survive, mainly because they have no secrets from each other at that point. They both are reasonable adults. Finally, with the curse being lifted, Gary wouldn't die so soon. So for me, they will have their happy ending. And I think Practical Magic is worth watching at least once. That's it guys. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Tell us which movie you want me to do next. And happy Halloween!